Yeah. That's fantastic. See,
Hey,
that's
Sherry,
the kind of
will you
stuff.
help me find my phone?
That's the kind of stuff we love, man. We love when we do this. So
Getting old has a
yeah, right. Like, look at that. Look at this. We're gonna slide this over so we can see Joe in the picture. There he is over there, hanging out with us. What's up, Bo? Hanging out, buddy. All right. Well, welcome everybody to another episode of the Mental Health Hour in our own place.
This is so weird.
Our guest tonight, my partner, our partner, Building a Refuge partner, Joe Shoemaker, roaster extraordinaire.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy. This is awesome, man. I love this. This is good stuff. We thought this would be an appropriate way to kind of kick this off.
Yeah.
Because why not highlight you, man?
Thank you.
I mean, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you.
And vice versa.
That's why it's so cool.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, we've always, like you and I have talked, I've always wanted to have or at least be a part of something like this when it comes to a coffee house, coffee shop, whatever. Mm-hmm. But I think sometimes you have in your mind how you're going to do it.
Oh, yeah.
And then somebody else has in their mind how it's going to happen. Mm-hmm. And this is how it's happened.
Yeah.
So we are located at 293 South 8th Street, Noblesville, Indiana, 46060, right?
2 short blocks south of the square.
2 short blocks south of the square, right on the American Legion campus.
We are.
That's
really
what
lucky.
I've said now because it is truly a campus.
It's a campus.
Yeah.
3 buildings here. We share with the Legion themselves, a beautiful historic property.
Yeah.
If you're in the area, stop in. The public can go there. So if you want a cold beverage, you can go to the Legion. You don't have to belong.
No, you don't.
And Blue Smoke Barbecue, if you're into the barbecue scene, holy moly.
They do a great barbecue.
I would say what did I have? I think I had pulled pork with the smoked pineapple.
Oh, damn.
Damn,
that
right.
sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'm a vegetarian that eats pork.
So here was the funny thing. I was in there one night, and Josh, the guy that owns it, he comes in, and he's like, "Hey, man," he's like, "You like barbecue?" I'm like, "Yeah, dude, I love barbecue." And he's like, "Well," he goes, "I'm making something right now." He goes, "I'm doing a stuffed jalapeno with goat cheese, with pulled pork, with brisket, wrapped in candy bacon." He's like, "You want to try one?" I'm like, yeah.
You got some Lipitor with that?
Yeah, I'm like, definitely I want to try one of those, man. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a pretty neat place. Pretty wild how all this has come together. And appreciate our audience tonight. It's always fun. Like, see, I do that, and then later on when I edit this thing, I put in, like, the, roaring sound of it. Yeah. Uh-huh. I mean, I can do that. Yeah, right? It's kind of like you're on radio, so you got to add some of this stuff. See, back in the day, they would, like, hit a tape or they do some fun stuff like that. We do it a little different now with technology, but it's all good. But, yeah, man, so Joe, you and I have known each other for a better part of probably 8 years now. You and I met at a Dead and Company show. I'm trying to think back because I got an amazing picture of you with a super bright tie-dye and a guitar.
I believe that was 2019.
Yep.
I flew back. Yeah, I'd moved to California by that point, but I flew back for that weekend and hung out with Scott Rudisell, our favorite friend and a local musician and a mensch. He introduced us.
Yeah.
But we didn't really hang out much. We didn't become friends. We didn't really. But we had met, and then when I moved back, after I'd moved back and been back a couple of years, Rudy invited me to the Harley shop where he was playing.
Oh, yeah.
For a benefit there that you do.
Yep.
And it sounded like a cool thing. He told me what was going on. It was, it was a benefit for his friend who did this stuff with men's mental health stuff, and it was at the Harley shop. I thought, that sounds pretty cool, and I was immediately turned on. Yeah, man, it's a little different what we do. We try to do, Building a Refuge, and I won't, because we've had a ton of episodes, but just quick for listeners, if this is the first podcast you're listening to, we started in 2018. Really, the main focus is mental health awareness and suicide prevention. I lost my brother in 2015, and Eric Robinson, co-founder of the organization, was an attempt on his own life, and we didn't feel like we had to do it. I always say that we didn't feel like, oh my gosh, since this happened, we have to do this now. We just, both of us, I think, are like-minded in that sense that we were hanging out just like this in a coffee house, Mama Bear's over in Fishers at the time, and we were like, nobody's doing this. Nobody's just hanging out, talking.
and just expressing, I think, what guys go through in life. My brother was 48 years old, and having life challenges at the time. And, it's one of those things that I was raised this way. Like when stuff like this happens, is just let's do something, right? That's where I think you and I are very like-minded, Joe. Like we are definitely supporters of community, and we love helping people. You know what I mean? And that's why this is such a serendipitous, I think, partnership that we have to be able to bring these two things together. Because I remember when you came to me, man, you're like, oh yeah, I'm kind of tapped out on the room from a roasting perspective, and I want to do this. And I'm like, I might have an opportunity for you, man. You know what I mean? Because when it did come up, I thought about you right away. You know what I mean? Because one, I love your coffee, and so I'm having it tonight.
Yeah,
this
cheers.
Right. This is
coffee from Kenya. Coffee is Kirinyaga. Is a co-op there, or the region. I sometimes get those confused, but it's just a wonderful coffee. This year's crop, so it's a really early crop this year. A lot of coffees from East Africa are still either in production or they're on boats on the way.
Okay.
But I was really fortunate to get some of this coffee as an early crop. It's a top crop. It's really delightful.
Nice.
It's been fun this summer. So many customers at Farmers Market have enjoyed it, especially even though all my coffees are light roast, a lot of my folks who claim to enjoy only dark roast coffees, once they sample this coffee, they're kind of sometimes a little light goes on.
Yeah.
And I've sold more bags of this light roast Kenya to dark roast coffee drinkers and my Brazil as well. So that's been a lot of fun. So it's a great coffee, and looking forward to. It's about time to order some more. So I've got on my board some things I'm looking at from Ethiopia, Kenya, Rwanda.
So we're going to come back to coffee,
yes,
because that's your passion, and we're going to spend some time on that. But before we do get into that, you're an Indiana guy.
I am.
Tell us a little bit about yourself in terms of where you grew up.
Yeah,
I know you've had some travels, so out to California and around that area and blah blah blah. But okay, Indiana, where?
I am sixth generation Hoosier.
Oh yeah. Nice.
I've often said that I was born here, but I'm not from here. If that makes any sense.
It definitely does.
We may get more into that. I don't want to get too far into the weeds with this stuff tonight on this, but never feeling like I fit in.
Yeah.
Since like day one. So, sixth generation Hoosier. Grew up in Anderson, Indiana.
Yeah.
And my mother taught in my high school. And my dad worked at General Motors, so kind of a typical Indiana boy, middle class life.
Yeah.
My mom was a high school English teacher, and like I said, my dad worked for General Motors and designed lighting and various other aspects for autos. And then I left home when I was 17. Went to college. I was a pretty young kid.
Okay.
Again, we may get more into this a little bit, but I had moved up a grade when I was really young.
Okay.
Because I could read really well.
Yeah.
So I was just a young kid, went off to college, and after more than 4 years, finally ended up graduating from a third university.
Was that here in Indiana?
At IU.
Oh, nice.
I'm an IU grad. Yeah.
Okay. Let's go Hoosiers, baby.
Skin of my teeth.
Huh?
Barely.
Yeah, look, I went to Vincennes, and then I took the University of Phoenix route. So, you know
what?
Doesn't matter. I got a degree.
That's right.
Yeah.
You got a degree. Mm-hmm. And then right out of college, moved to Indianapolis.
Okay.
And my formal education was graphic design. I had a graphic design degree, fine arts degree, art history minor. But I started in college as a pre-med student. So
Gotcha.
Say, Dad wasn't real happy with the choice to shift to fine arts from being a doctor. So I started in the graphic design world.
Yeah.
So designing corporate identities and annual reports, sales material. I did a lot of stuff for Karma Records way back in the day.
Oh, yeah, buddy. That's my day.
I was a really lucky person.
Let's go Karma.
I ended up working at Sunshine Promotions for a few years. For locals, that would mean Deer Creek. For new locals, that would mean Ruoff. That back in the day, that was Deer Creek.
Did you work at any of the Karmas?
I didn't work at Karma, but I did a lot of work for them. Because of my connection at Sunshine, their marketing person contacted me, and I did all their print ads for about 5 or 6 years.
Dude, Karma used to have some really cool gear.
They were such fun stores.
Yeah, they had great, I loved it, man. It fit me. It hit me in a perfect time of life. But they always had really cool, gear, like their T-shirts, hats, and stickers.
It was legit. It was legit. There's still a couple of them. There's still a couple of them around. Mostly, all I did were the newspaper ads for new CD releases. It's not new record releases. So, and then I did
Sherry,
that.
speaking of records.
Yeah. I was, an art director for a few years, and after a significant life change, divorce, other things, took another career path and was a real estate broker. Still am. I still am a residential real estate broker. I've been for about 25 years now.
Talk about that.
And primarily here in central Indiana. From downtown Indianapolis, sort of up here into the suburbs. And then a few years in California. We'll talk about that in a sec. In 2018, just before we'd met, my then partner and I made a pretty big decision. I sold my house, the dream house that I had designed for me and then built. Sold that house and moved to California and kind of went all in, as they say. And
like picked up and not like the Beverly Hillbillies, but just picked up and said, "We're out of here."
We're out of here. We rented a condo in Palm Springs.
That was 2018.
That was 2018.
Okay.
In the fall. The day we moved in, it was 108 degrees.
It's a dry heat.
It's a dry heat. You see where this is going?
See, we're going. Yeah, we're going. Yeah,
we'll get there.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not going to go into a lot of those details because those were some tough years. It involved COVID. It involved my dogs dying. It was like a country song.
And that's heavy, man.
They took the truck. The old lady left me.
Yeah, dude. Like, I get it. But you and I talked about this, one day when we were hanging out here, just, drinking coffee and talking about just what we want to do. And I remember you sharing a lot of that with me, man. And those are the kind of things that, like, what we do, right, at Building a Refuge, we don't ever tell anybody you got it, like, hey, you got to talk about this, right? But those are the kind of things that hit heavy on guys later in life, And
I think it's important, too, to frame all of this within put it in the framework, rather, that I got sober in 1987.
Congratulations.
When I was 21.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude.
So the subsequent almost 40 years were under the umbrella of going to AA meetings regularly, and searching and seeking and trying all sorts of religions and cults and everything you can imagine under the sun. I've done sweat lodges. I've sat with the Dalai Lama, and I mean that quite literally. I have the photographic evidence.
Yep.
I've kind of been and done and settled and seen a lot of things in this sort of always seeking, searching part of myself. So even the hard times that I went through, I had resources. I had places to go. I had AA I could go to, or NA I could go to, or whatever. I knew what therapy was about. I had a lot of resources.
Yeah.
Some of that was, very fortunate that things like therapy are not available to a lot of folks who don't have the means.
That's fair.
People are suffering out there. I mean, even as I am, it's tough for me to find a therapist who will work with an adult with things that I'm challenged with. It's very difficult and very expensive. Few of them take insurance. So the obstacles are real to getting mental health help.
There's no doubt about that.
So when things melted down out west, there's a lot of stuff there. We may or may not go into some of it, but it ultimately resulted in me coming back to Indiana for what I thought was going to be a weekend.
That wasn't 2019, right?
That was in 2021.
Okay.
In August of 2021. Actually, in September of 2021.
So when you and I met, man, you were going through some shit then.
In 2019, things were actually pretty good. They were on the upswing. We moved out there. I moved to Palm Springs knowing not a single person. So I'm going to start a real estate business in a tourist town, a seasonal tourist town, not knowing a single person.
Is there a reason why you picked Palm Springs, or is there?
I had visited there, and the architecture there is second to none. It's mid-century modern architecture.
Okay.
So that's my specialty in the real estate world.
Okay.
I've worked in and around contemporary design, modern architecture, mid-century modern, international style, all the things that sort of fit in that umbrella, prairie style, Usonian. That's sort of been my passion around the real estate stuff, and if there were a mecca of that in the U.S., Palm Springs would be it.
Okay.
There are more mid-century modern homes in 1 square mile in some parts of Palm Springs than all of central Indiana.
Wow.
I mean, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of high-style homes.
Yeah, and I'm sure some of that stuff is super cool. I mean, just in terms of the design work and the architects and, just the landscape out there, for one, is pretty awesome.
Yeah, I'd visited so many times, and the decision to move was actually made after we visited one in July. It may actually be close to this date. I went and saw Dead & Company actually at Dodger Stadium. And that was in July, and we spent a few days in Palm Springs, and it was unbelievably hot. I mean, again, July in Palm Springs is it's something else. 118. I've been there 124 twice. So we made the decision to move and in the midst of the heat.
Yeah.
And so we did. Hey, my friend.
Yeah, see, I love it. We got a little audience tonight. I love it, man.
So we made the decision to move, and it really was an all-in sort of thing. And 2019 was kind of on an upswing. I'd started to meet some people. I was doing open houses. I was meeting some prospects. I actually had a couple deals under my belt.
Yep.
I had joined a team that, to put it in perspective, I was working at a real estate office here in central Indiana that the entire office in 1 year would do about $350 million in sales. I joined a team and it was headquartered in Huntington Beach that I'm sure by this time is doing $1 billion in sales annually.
Yeah.
So this place was like 2.5 times, just one team at the Sotheby's office in California. It was bigger than my entire company here in Indianapolis. So I'm talking about being able to hold open $12 million houses. It was kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get that in a sense that only because like I've traveled. My wife and I, Sherry, amazing. We've been blessed to travel California a little bit, man, and stay in some pretty cool places. But just it's a different world. It just is. What I mean?
It was way more structurally, emotionally. Upsetting than I really was aware of at the time.
Yeah.
The shift, coming from a place, again, I'm sixth generation Hoosier. Like my parents bought a house in 1975. They paid $75,000 for it.
Yeah.
It's probably worth $175 today.
Yeah.
Had that house been in Huntington Beach, it'd be worth $2 million.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So this worldview that's built on like, I'm rich because my dad never moved.
Yeah.
Like I have no experience of that. I have no connection to that at all. And so that was very disconcerting. And again, I didn't really notice it at the time as much as looking back, I'm like, that was really a shock.
Oh yeah.
To have different relationships, like just add a couple zeros after everything I've ever done.
Yeah.
Add a couple zeros and it just made no sense to me after a while. But anyway, I had a great opportunity. But then COVID and some other things, just my mental health stuff really started to struggle and for ways that I'm just now kind of beginning to understand.
Yep.
I'd spent many years putting together a kind of a safe place and safe people and safe ways of being. I'd built my own house. I over-insulated it so it was super quiet.
Yep.
Noise stuff bugs me. It was pure white. It was absolutely pristine all the time. And that routine that I had when we moved, it all went away.
Yeah.
And then my brain just kind of came undone around a lot of that. So I ended up coming back here in 2021. And I'm really grateful that I got to spend a couple of years. My daughter and my grandson live with me.
Oh, cool.
Some family property where I now stay.
Yeah.
So it was pretty neat to be with him when he was so young.
Yeah.
Because he was born January 1st of the COVID year, 2020.
Oh, wow. Jeez.
So he's a young guy. He's a handsome little fella. But
that's I don't know. Just obviously we lived through it. Mm-hmm. It's a crazy time, man.
Ended up back here, and I'd started roasting coffee out west.
Yeah.
During COVID.
Okay.
I'm like, again, nothing. I don't know anybody.
Did you have a background in it at all, or did you just like, hey,
I know. Love coffee.
I know you dive in, right? So if you're gonna go, hey, I want to start roasting
special
coffee.
Interests.
Yeah.
I have a special interest. I have a few of them.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So you just said, man, I'm diving in, and
I kind of didn't have anything to do.
Yeah.
And so I bought just a little air roaster. It looks like, they make popcorn popper ones, but this one's called a fresh roast. So it's got a little glass chamber on top. So it's a tiny little thing. You put it on top of your stove.
Yeah.
And I roasted a batch of coffee. Scott was my first customer, and I realized after one batch, I'm like, oh, this is too small. I got it. No.
That's what happens with beer.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. And I never really pursued it after I got to brewing like a 5-gallon keg. But Sherry bought me, I think it was for birthday or Father's Day or something, just a gallon. Mm-hmm. And it was a smoked porter, and you did it all on your stovetop, right? And I was like, man, that's pretty cool. And so I went down to Great Fermentations and bought another recipe, and the dude's like, look, man, this is I'm just going to tell you what's going to happen.
Open your checkbook.
He's like, you should just buy all this stuff now. And I'm like, you're just trying to sell me on all this shit, right? And he's like, this is what's going to happen. And he was right. You know what I mean? He was right. So within, 6 months, I was brewing 5 gallons worth of beer.
Yeah. I absolutely lucked out, though. I didn't have to spend a dime really in there are several in California. I think there are 3 in the Bay Area. These kind of maker spaces for coffee, if you will.
Oh, yeah, you were saying
shared coffee roasteries. And so shout out to Len and the folks at the California Roasting Collective.
Yep.
They were so kind to me, allowed me to join the co-op and learn to roast on a serious commercial roaster.
Yeah.
Both a small batch and then move up to a big machine like the San Francisco 25. So I was roasting on big machines. And then,
right on.
I missed that machine.
Yeah.
I missed being able to roast at that scale. It was amazing to be able to drive. I packed a car. It was a 2-hour drive through the high desert in Anza. Sometimes I go around through Riverside into San Marcos, which is a San Diego suburb. So 2 hours, I'd go there, I'd roast coffee, big bags for a couple hours, and then package it up and then take it home and was just
That's
kind
awesome,
of selling
man.
it bag to bag here and there.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't really, nothing was legitimate. I wasn't licensed. I wasn't doing.
What was your first real coffee roasted?
Dude, I am embarrassed to say this. It's a coffee now that I could not even afford to purchase. It's so expensive now.
No shit.
It would be like an Esmeralda Gesha from Panama.
Okay.
These are coffees now that sell at auction for hundreds of dollars a kilo, if not thousands of dollars per kilo.
Wow.
Yeah, I lucked into a little bit of it. I think I probably paid $25 or $26 a pound for it.
Yeah.
This is some of that life-changing coffee. Like, what in the world is this stuff?
Yeah. Well,
I was a complete novice. I can't believe I didn't screw it up.
I want to come back to that, but so timing-wise, you moved out there in 2018. You weren't back here yet, correct?
No.
In 2020, so you're still out. When did you end up coming back to Indy?
2021, September is when I came back.
Okay.
And again, I had no plans to stay.
Yeah.
My truck was packed. This is another story for another podcast, but my truck was packed. I was not having a great night at a Dead & Company show at Deer Creek that I hadn't even planned. I was on tour with Fish that summer. That's what brought me back here. I was on tour with Fish. I went to Washington State, Indy, Washington State, Mountain View.
Who, by the way, Fish was just here on a 3-night run.
Yes. Wow. I'm still not all back together.
I was jealous that I missed it.
That I ended up back here. Again, I was in Denver. I kind of was going to go home. I was living in L.A. by then. I was actually subletting an apartment in L.A. in Hollywood, which is one of my favorite places in the world, from my friend Lindsay. And she was on tour, again, musician. Peace to my friend Lindsay. She's a badass. I was going to go back to Hollywood. So my truck was packed literally in the parking lot, and I was walking out of the venue at Deer Creek because set 2 from that show, if you go back and listen, I think Death Don't Have No Mercy. I think Bobby sang that. I was a mess. I was like, I got to get back to California.
You got to get out of here.
And literally on the way out of the venue, I had an encounter with this person that I'd met a month earlier when I was back in Indiana at the Fish show.
Yeah.
And it's this girl that I spend some time with now.
Yeah,
and I ended up staying. I was like, yeah, cool. There's this girl wants to have coffee. And then the next day is when my daughter called and said she needed a place to stay. So it all kind of worked out. It was
I'm glad it worked out.
Timing.
You wouldn't be here if it didn't work out, you know?
You're right.
Yeah.
And so I put all my roasting stuff on hold because I didn't have a place to roast.
Yeah.
Did a couple real estate deals, kind of got back into that a little bit. Started, had a little day job here and there. Worked at, I'm embarrassed to say, I actually worked at Nespresso.
That's all right.
In the mall.
Yeah,
no, it's not all right.
I mean, it's a learning experience, though, right?
Yeah. I had to put everything I believe into a bag and put it over here.
So obviously I've gotten to know you a lot better in the last, few months. And I'm sure that was hard for you because you have a mind, an artistic mind that when it would probably come to, I don't want to say fast food, coffee, bistro, whatever, that's challenging, I'm sure, for you.
Yeah. That is corporate food at a level that most people can't comprehend. How big Nestle Corporation.
Yeah.
The big
is it a pink bunny on 69 or is it a yellow bunny?
It's a pink bunny.
It's a pink bunny. Yeah.
The quick bunny.
The pink bunny on 69
at mile marker 20.3, I think.
That's right.
That corporation is gigantic. They own about a third of what's in the grocery stores. Yeah. If not more. They own all the bottled water, basically. And so it was a challenge to go in there and smile and put on a face to customers and say, yes, this coffee's great, when it's actually not great. From the things that I enjoy. Yeah. And I love the people that love it. There was a time when that was my coffee too. Yeah. And I appreciate that. Yeah. So we'll get to this, I'm sure, but
it's a good transition, but I want to just ask, so you made it back out here 2021, you said, right? And then So you haven't been back to California since then?
I have,
Okay.
yeah. In fact, the first couple of years I was going back about every 3 or 4 months because I had a painting studio out there.
Yeah.
I still have some things in storage, so I still had some things I was doing out there.
Yep.
And I miss it every day.
Yeah.
There's lots of things in the desert that were very transformational for me.
Sure.
Emotionally, spiritually, mentally, all of the things that can happen out there. The desert was my jam, so to speak.
Yeah, the West is a different place, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like we just had a really good friend in town that we met here. She moved out here from Berkeley in the early 2010-ish time, somewhere in there. And you got to meet her when she was in town, man. And she taught us a lot about California and the history and just, man, her dad, rest his soul, he was a veteran, actually just passed away, and he was a veteran. So David was a super cool guy, man. Like when we went and hung out with them up at Stinson Beach one summer, I was telling him, because Sherry and I went over to Muir Woods, and so we came back, and I was just fascinated, with everything that we had learned. And so David and I had this just really cool conversation about the whole ecosystem on top of the redwoods that don't ever touch the ground.
Right.
Ever.
Yeah.
Like they don't ever touch the ground. And so the next day he comes, man, and he had printed me out like this whole Bible, story of like all these really cool facts and just all the history of the redwoods and all that, man. But it's just, I don't know how to, you get it. It's just a different, feel in terms of how they look at, I guess the ecosystem, life, whatever you want to call it, however you want to call it, man. It's just a different vibe.
I think, being born and bred in Indiana, flatland corn and soybeans as far as you can. I live in the middle of the soybean field right now, so I can say this.
A crooked one, by the way.
It is. It's crooked. Son of a bitch. Planted 2 rows. It's anyway.
It's right. Just do them straight, okay?
Being so connected to the environment there.
Yeah.
We have different connection to the environment here.
Sure,
right?
sure.
But the ocean, the mountains, the desert, the forests, the Central Valley, those things are all so interconnected and within a very short distance.
Yeah.
I think there's just a different connection to nature there because of just living there. Living there can create.
I mean, unless you're
that.
somebody that never gets out of the city, right? I mean, but it seems like to me most people that are from California have some exposure to either the mid-south, I'd say, or mid-central northern California or whatever. But so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, even the city people though. It's everybody's outdoors all the time.
Oh yeah,
because you can be, and it's just I miss that so
made
much.
it back here, went to work for Nestle.
Yeah, worked for Nespresso.
You worked for another coffee company too, right? For a minute?
No. And then I worked for a major computer retailer store company that has a name that's a fruit. For about 3 years. And
Joe, you're good at that. Like you're good at like verbally. Like yeah.
Amazing experience.
Yeah.
I miss the people I work with so much. Taught me, and I learned. I learned a lot about myself in that experience.
How long did you work there?
About 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah. And then my time when I left rolled me right into a real estate transaction that was probably one of the most meaningful of my life. And I just learned, I'm really sad today. I just learned that the lady who I helped passed away yesterday.
Oh, well, rest her soul, man.
I'm really sad for Robin today, but the experience that I had, I could not have had working in a retail store.
Sure. So you met her there? Like
no, she was across the street neighbor from a past client.
Yep.
And was in a bit of a tough situation, and it required a lot of hand-holding. And me being there in person, I just would not have been able to do had I clocked into a job that I was clocked in. So the timing was absolutely perfect. That let me do a spring out to Joshua Tree for an October weekend out there, which was fantastic.
Yep.
But by then I'd required a roaster, so I was already roasting by then.
Okay.
It took me a couple of years to do a couple deals, real estate deals, pay some debts, whatever, and buy my little roaster. So
because I think it was, I don't know,
about 2023.
Yeah, because I know we obviously even going to some of the fish shows and some of the dead shows and just music in general, and Rudy and some of the guys that we hang out with and friends. I remember. I remember early on, but I remember when you had just started kind of roasting, because I remember Rui told me about it for one, but then we were somewhere, Sherry and I were somewhere, and I remember you were like, oh, I'll give you a, try bag of what I did, you know what I mean? And that really wasn't that long ago. I mean, it wasn't eons ago by any means.
3 years at the most. I think I got my roaster, my billet in August 23. Yeah. So it's almost 3 years now.
Yeah. Well, let's transition a little bit then, man. So, and I appreciate all that, because one of the things that, we try to do on these podcasts, is just is a mission anyways, as many people know around building a refuge. It's one story at a time to create hope, right? And there's a lot of content, to your point. Like, there's probably a whole podcast in terms of what you went through in that transition, even out in California, Joe. You know what I mean? And one of the things, and one of the big reasons we wanted to do this tonight and have this opportunity tonight, is the partnership that we have ventured on here, anyways, with the coffee house, because it's super cool and it's a cool space. But I think that when we do these things, it's an opportunity for people to get to know you, and you're a big part of this, and that's why I say it's a great transition, because Dry Heat Coffee has got a little story behind it. Yeah. But let's share a little bit about your passion and why it does mean so much to you. Because here's the thing. I think you know this too about me by now. Like, I didn't want to just start a coffee house. Like, that wasn't the intent. Right now, like I mentioned a little bit ago, me and Sherry had always had some aspirations of doing something. But, sometimes the bigger picture sometimes doesn't come that way, right? And it comes to you in a way, and when you do see it, you take full advantage of wrapping your arms around it, right? And so when this opportunity came, we said, man, the first time I walked through these doors over here, I said, holy, shit, man, like, this place has got opportunity here, right? And like I said, when we went right back out, because we were here helping out the American Legion, we were doing a hog roast, I went right to Sherry and said, hey, man, look, we might have something here. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I thought about you right away, because you bring a unique coffee experience to what this space brings. So talk to us, talk to I guess, our audience, people listening to this, like, what, like, how did that get going? Like, how did that start? How did that,
I wrote something the other week and posted it on social and LinkedIn particularly about the what's in a name, like where does the name come from? And the day I started roasting coffee, that when I bought that little fresh roast outside, it was 118 degrees. Yep. But it was 7% humidity, so it was a dry heat. That's really where the name comes from. But as I was alluding to earlier, the desert, like, there's something about the desert. Not to get too woo woo here, but like, the desert doesn't really like ask or care about what I want to do in my life or what I want to carry or how I want to appear. It asks me, what do I have the energy to carry? Like, what do I really have the energy to do? If I were to look at the big lesson that I got from the desert, it's like, I got to make some serious choices. Yeah. Based upon limitations. Some of them are natural, heat, or my age. I'm not 30 years old anymore.
You look great, though, by the way.
Thank you. Appreciate that. It's all the coffee.
That's right, man.
Cortisol.
Hey, I did just hear that 5 cups of coffee a day are good for you. So,
I've heard too.
Cheers.
Cheers to that. I got the beans.
That's right.
So for me, part of my choice is I got to pick a lane. Yeah. And some of my experience of working in that retail store with the fruit name that I mentioned was the realization that I can't do a lot of people.
That's fair.
I forced myself, and it was not easy. It was not good for me to have that much stimulation in one place. And I know a coffee shop being in that environment, at least the customer-facing portion of it, is not for me. Yep. So my space is like from the grinder backwards, like from the green coffee until it hits the grinder. That's really my area of expertise. And even within that, I've had to make some choices. And that is, how do I roast? What's my style? What do I source? Who are my customers? And so I've made the choice to roast only coffee that I like. Yep. And that's not to say that that coffee I don't like is bad. And this is another lesson that I've learned really in a real way in the last year, is that there really isn't, and I'm working hard to eliminate these words even from my vocabulary when I talk to my customers. Good, bad, right, wrong, better, worst, like that stuff is because
we enjoy other coffee houses, right?
I drink gas station coffee. I prefer
nothing wrong with it.
I prefer QT over Love's, but in a pinch, double.
That's right.
So it really comes down to every person's experience is subjective, and this really goes to all of life. It's not just coffee,
That's
but coffee's the mechanism.
Yeah.
So it's not my place to tell someone that the coffee that they enjoy is wrong or bad. Right. I do what I do, and I hope that people like it. And if they don't, that's okay, because guess what? Between here and their house, there are probably like 47 coffee shops.
Exactly right. Yeah.
And one of them will have something that they like.
Right.
And oh, by the way, try what I make. Maybe you'll like it. Turns out many people do.
Right.
They have a preconceived idea of what light roast coffee can be, and they taste, and they're like, "Oh, I didn't know that."
I think I did.
So,
I'm culpable. I did.
Yeah. So I've decided that I really want to focus on more than the product and more the producer.
Sure.
And the consumer, and connecting those two things, connecting this producer in a far off place, or that's Carmen Montoya, or one of the Andrea Moreira or David Flores, or one of these producers in these far off places in Colombia and Ethiopia and all the places in the world, and what their expectation is of this thing that they spend their life doing. Yeah. Because these are not commodity crops. These are not like, sorry guys, this ain't soybeans. This ain't soybeans. This is very small farms who work very diligently to try to bring these coffees to market that in a way that allows them to support their families. Yep. How do I connect that producer and their life and their expectations of what that coffee, how that coffee should express? How does that match what the customer experience is? And that's a really wide gap that I really struggle with. Yeah. Because I don't know how they roast it at origin. Yeah. Because they'll sample roast and they'll taste it. So how is it roasted at origin? What water are they using? How long off a roast did they consume it? Yep. And then the time between producer on a boat to my place, and then I roast it, and then how long between the customer, and is the water different? So there's this big gap that I'm trying to me, that's what I'm trying to close. Yeah. The gap between Miss Carmen and her family and that heritage in Colombia, and John Doe over here, who tries some of my coffee at a market and says, "Tell me about this coffee." And I'm like, "You tell me about this coffee." That's right. I have ideas of what this coffee. What do you experience? Yeah. Oh, you taste strawberry and vanilla? You're like, and cocoa? Interesting. That's cool, because that's exactly what the producer said. Yay, I did my job.
Well, I remember the one day I came in here, and remember you had like, man, my taste is just jacked up today, man. You're like, and then you're like, taste that coffee and tell me what you taste. And so I think it was the decaf, and so I tasted it, and I was like, oh man, dude, like that is, like and it wasn't dark chocolate. It was, and you were like, oh, thank God. That's exactly what you're supposed to get. You know what I mean? So but I love that because, I think I equate this to, and I'm not from the alcohol perspective, but I do equate it to kind of like wine. Because wine's got a lot of different flavor, complexities and things like that. And what I also, from an alignment perspective do too is like when you pair it with things, because even like tonight when you were like, hey, taste the coffee that we have tonight, the Ethiopian, right?
Tonight's the Kenya
with like the chocolate, right? It's fantastic. And by the way, we do have some turtle bars over there if anybody wants to try and taste it. But I mean, it just brings out a whole different flavor and experience and things like that. And I'll say this too. I was a guy that always, if I'm at a work meeting or whatever, and let's just say they bring in a, larger brand coffee into the hotels, I'm going to hammer it with some cream and sugar, right? That's just what I've always done. And your coffees, these coffees that we have here, dry heat coffee, they're different. Like you don't need it. Yeah. Like that's the cool part. Like you don't need that stuff in it. You know?
That's true. And at the same time, I think it's important for people to understand that like once it's out of my hands, it's none of my business.
Yeah.
And I have judgments about how it's treated, but I really don't.
I get you.
I really don't. To me, so for our purposes here, what this space offers me and us isn't really a cafe experience from my perspective. Right. It's a coffee roastery and a tasting room, as you might experience it in a brewery sort of thing. Yep. So the coffee that we serve is the coffee that I'm working with that week. Yep. Brewed in a method that's probably just a batch brew, but maybe I'm doing V60s that day. Maybe we're going to do Chemex. We played around with some French press and V60s, learned some things the other day. So it really is an always working, always thinking, always changing and evolving space. Which really, for me, I'm glad that I have that in coffee. I have that for anything that gets me involved. I'm going to have that.
Yeah.
Like, it's got to be art and science.
For sure.
Like, I got to nerd out on this stuff. Like, I want to know about, temperatures and moisture content and all the things that go into, like, what's the active water content of the seed before I even roast it. Like, super nerdy.
Yep.
I love all that stuff too.
Yeah. It's fun, man. And that's why, I just pulled up the slide that I did for you because I love this picture, by the way, of you, man. It's fantastic.
Thank you.
That's I think the fun part about what we're doing. You mentioned this a minute ago, like it's a tasting room, right? It is, right? That's what we do because, as we kind of navigated this and this journey, I said, hey, look, I really want this to be a space where people can come in and make a donation, right? Yeah. And as you and I have gotten to learn one another, and the cool part about it is, Joe, and I appreciate for this, man, like we listen to one another, you know what I mean? And what that allows to happen is, so if people want to come in here, we will have a coffee on display, or a coffee that people can, batch coffee that people can come in and it is a donation, right? But as we talked even a little earlier, we want to highlight is like, hey, you always will have retail product for sale here, right? Yeah. So talk to me a little bit about, I want to put this up too, where people can see where they can find it. You got an amazing website, but you're at a lot of farmers markets around town.
I'm at the Wednesday evening farmers market in South Broad Ripple, 49th and College, right across from Upland Brewing, which usually has music now in the evenings, which is super cool. On Wednesday evening music, Tom Woodard's been playing there with his band, and so we get a great pre-show crowd, and then folks go over to Upland and have some food and drinks after, which is a lot of fun. Friday evenings, I'm in Yorktown, which is close to my hometown. I live in Daleville now, which is where my family's from. I've many generations ago.
That's right.
many generations back in that part of the world, Henry County and Delaware County and Muncie, Daleville, Yorktown area. So and that's a giant market. Yorktown's got a happening little social scene there. On Friday evenings, we're in the park right next to the Pizza King, and it's a legit Pizza King.
It's a legit.
Not one of those fake ones.
We could have a whole podcast on that. Yeah, right.
And then Saturdays, I'm really lucky to be partnered up in Fishers, and I meet there in the square, in the circle where the amphitheater is. In Fishers on Saturday mornings, and there are a couple of coffee vendors out there that are cafes that have coffee trucks and so on. And that actually kind of goes to kind of put a wrap on that last little point was that the difference, if there were a kind of a little shift in difference between what a cafe would offer and what a tasting room would offer, is that our focus, my focus is the ingredient. Yeah, it's not, am I going to make you the best cappuccino you've ever had in your life? I'm not, because I don't know how. Right, but let me give you a taste of this ingredient so that you can then take it home or take it to your barista and make the best coffee you've ever had. Yeah. If you want to put milk and sugar and hazelnut cream and cold foam and do whatever, you want. That's all cool. Yeah. This is this ingredient. That to me, is what it really kind of comes down to. Is that one little piece that differentiates what we might do here or what I might do here from our friends down the street. Right, Noble Coffee, great coffee company 3 blocks from here. I agree, 100%. There's so much room for everybody to play in the sandbox. Absolutely. I will also say I am super not competitive. Yeah. I never have been, and I've tried to be. It doesn't work out well, turns out, when I try to be something that I'm not. Yeah. And so coffee also gives me that. Yeah. Is that I can do what I do in the way that I do it and love it and trust it. Yeah. And believe that other people will love it too, and I'm not putting anybody else out of business. Yeah, and I think that's what's so cool about what we're doing together here, man. I mean, because that's exactly what we want to be able to do. You know, everything, really, most anything that we've done from a building a refuge perspective, outside of a couple of events that we've done, but anything that pertains with food and music and things like that, everything has always been by donation. And really the reason is that we do it that way is because we're blessed, very blessed by people that donate it to us. Like we've had some really great people that have donated, you know, some of the food that we've prepared, you know, for events or whatever that might be. And so it just doesn't feel right to me to go, oh, well, somebody's going to donate this to me and now I'm going to charge somebody for it. Right. Yeah. Cause that's just not the way I'm wired. It's not the mission behind what we do, because what we don't want to have happen is somebody come in here and they're like, oh man, you know, I heard this podcast and I really would love to try Joe's coffee, but I just don't have the money to pay for it. Yeah. I would want someone to be able to come in here and have the same experience with this cup of coffee that anybody else would be able to have with it. Yeah. You know what I mean? And hang out with us and tell us why they came in or how they found out about it, because that's way more meaningful, Joe, because I know this too.
You know, man, like you don't know where that person might be in 5 years, 10 years from now when they can come in here and they might want to buy 50 bags of coffee from you or whatever it might be, right? I mean,
the interesting serendipity, if you will, about all of this is I mentioned that painting studio earlier in Palm Springs. Before I moved back, this would have been like 2020, late 2020, early 2021, way before I moved back. I'm a whiteboard person, as you well know. Some people don't know that. I love whiteboards because my brain goes way faster than I can. So I just write stuff down on walls. I had like Visqueen on like a 20-foot long whiteboard in my studio, and I had a whole section about kind of envisioning this coffee thing. And it was, the cafe or the space itself was very secondary to being a community space for teaching and supporting people. And important, like in highlights in the middle of this whiteboard was free drip coffee always. Like anybody, any time of day when that light's on can walk in here and get a cup.
That's right.
No matter what. I don't care who you are or where you're from. I connect with the people on the edge, man.
Man.
And Palm Springs at that time, it still is. A lot of unhoused people who I relate to them more than I do the people in the $12 million house. And that's why this stuff gets me.
I agree with you, dude. Like, I agree with you big time. And I think that, the reason behind building a refuge, and even, Sherry and I just went through, man, like the loss of my brother is tragic. It is. It sucks to go through stuff like that. But we lost a lot of really close people to us in 12 months, like 7 people in 12 months, including Sherry's dad, man. And that was heavy, dude. It's like heavy. It took me for a loop, dude. I had to take a time out and just be like, what is life? Like, what is life? You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I know that's a heavy question, right? But so anyways, I say all that because I know there's a lot of people out there that struggle, and we'll put some resources up here, towards the end of our podcast or whatever. But we do have a ton of resources, and what's really cool is I look at this space as a resource now. Not only for myself, but for other people, right? Because it is a safe place. It is a place that you can come in. It is a place you can come in and get a free drip coffee, right? Or a donation if you can. If you can't, that's fine. But even more than that, I think in terms of, growing your brand and what we're doing with this space as well. There's some cool stuff that we have planned, man. You know what I mean? Just like, we had a meeting here last weekend. Fantastic, man. Had some great people show up. We got some in the audience tonight. And we want to continue to do that, education events. If somebody wants to use the space for a Bible study, or they want to use it for a book club, or they want to use it, for an AA meeting, or you want to use it for anything like that, man, just reach out to us. Like I said, I'll throw some information up here in a little bit on how to do that. But so people also, if they come to your market, when the light's on, Joe, they can come in and buy beans, right? You'll have retail beans here all the time.
You got it.
And they can go to your website, correct? That's right.
Just dryheatcoffee.com or Instagram too, Dry Heat Coffee. That's the long and the short of it. As I mentioned, that those folks on the edge really just drive a lot of this for me. Because I think about the times in my life when I really went through some stuff, and I remember the Abbey Coffee House downtown.
Oh yeah,
on the corner of College and Mass. Right? I don't think it ever closed. I would usually go there after watching my kids when I was getting separated and all that, and I would hang out until I couldn't sleep. I was full of panic and anxiety, and I couldn't sleep, and I wanted to off myself. So I'd go there and drink coffee instead. And not drive myself into a bridge abutment. Yeah, buddy. I'm
glad you didn't.
Thank you. Me too.
I mean, no joking. I'm just glad you didn't.
Me too.
I'm glad that experience, even if it's a little bit or it's a big part of it, whatever, like this reminds you of that.
That vibe.
Like, that's super cool.
And so many of us, I think I may have written this somewhere on my website even, that like there are times in our life that like my son wants to tell me he and his girlfriend are going to have a baby. That happens at a coffee shop. You want to meet somebody for a business meeting to look at, you want to talk about writing a house for a real estate contract. You do it at a coffee shop. There's something about this space and whatever that medicine is that comes out of these seeds. There's something magic. And it's beyond just just a cup.
That's, man. Well, it's 100% agree, man. I mean, it's more than a cup. It really is. And, even with what we're doing, and helping out these folks at the American Legion is a huge part of being able to give back to the community. I love it, man, because there's people walking out there behind you, man. Like, it's just awesome. Yeah. But I mean, that's what it's all about, right? Because I mean, again, back to kind of how this all came about. I met somebody here from the Legion, and they extended themselves and said, "Hey, man, would you help us out do this?" Sure. I mean, that's what building a refuge does, right? Yeah. And you're right, man. I mean, it is the space, and I think that's what's really cool, because I think we have some you and I have like-minded thoughts on what we want to build this into. And I think it can be like we sit in the room right now, but there's so much more, man. Like, just things that we can do with the community and the public and education in the space and supporting our veterans. We thank all of our veterans, man. I mean, I think all of us that are a part of this are in it. Like, we're not just doing this. Like, I had a really good friend of mine. I'll make a shout out to him. My good buddy Rusty Kennedy. He's my pastor, and he'd hate me for even saying that, but he is. But man, he's like, if we're not doing this, why are we doing it? Like, he said that one day. Like, we're not into this, man. Why are we doing it? And I so can connect with that. Like, I'm not just going to just do this to do this.
Right.
Like, I'm authentic, man. And my life has brought me here to do this. Do you know what I mean? I mean, and why not do it? Right. That's the thing, man. And, you and I are such open-minded people, I think. And I think that's a big part of being able to, to bring this out to folks, you know what I mean? And I think that's super cool. So, all right. So you're at markets.
Yep.
We can find you at dryheatcoffee.com.
Yep.
What else is going on in Joe's life, man?
I just got back from Florida and visiting my parents. Speaking of, aging things, that was still a little shook from all that.
For sure.
It's we're in those times where we're having some tough conversations about things that I never anticipated having to talk about.
Well,
just avoid.
You're with your parents, and my wife and I are with my dad.
Yeah, right? Who sound like two of a kind. We love them. We love our dad.
It'd be fun to put them together.
Very much.
Right?
Oh, they'd have a blast.
I do love him. I hope that my dad actually listens to this and be like, "I heard your podcast the other day." Yeah. I love you, Dad. Okay, that's what I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
So
I love you, Dad, too.
Yeah, man. I mean, but it's a different time of life. Yeah. But I mean, this kind of stuff, like, even with what we're doing, man, helps to like share about that.
I think about this a lot because my dad and I share a lot of challenges. A lot. We are very similar in many ways that have made some things that we've tried very, very difficult. And he had none of this.
Yeah. No, that's fair. You're right.
I've been around recovery stuff for 40 years.
Yeah.
Man. Like, it's like that was just therapy. That was like no way.
Yeah.
There's no way boomers are going to therapy.
Right.
I'm sorry for the most part. Right.
Yeah.
Many of them do. I'm generalizing grossly, but
yeah.
Like this idea of that we can actually learn about ourselves and try to get better with some things.
Yeah.
That's actually
it's okay.
That's actually kind of new.
Yeah.
In our world.
No, you're right. You're 100% correct. No doubt. I mean, it's only in the last probably 10 years. Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah. And beyond that, accessibility to that kind of support. Again, it's very limited to people of means.
Yeah.
If you're poor, you're probably under a hell of a lot more stress than if you're not.
No doubt.
And your ability to get help with that is very, very limited.
Yeah.
So the resources for people who need it most are non-existent.
Yeah.
And that's really troubling too.
Well, and that's one of the things, and I appreciate you bringing it up, man. One of the things that we do, with the money that we raise is if somebody does come our way and they don't have the means to get help, we will do our best in paying it forward for them. You know what I mean? Whether that's, I'll just give you an example. I mean, we had somebody come to us and they were wanting to go to treatment and they didn't have enough money to cover their deductible. And so we just wrote the deductible to the treatment center and said, we don't want you to stress about that. Just, we want you to go. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's why we do this, because there's a fantastic post story after that, and that's what's hope is. Like I said, one story at a time to create hope, right? And that's what's really cool, Joe. I mean, that's what's fun about this, man. I mean, You're right, though, man. Our parents did not have this.
No.
You know what I mean? They don't.
And then and even you know a bit of the story. And we won't go too deep into it today, but even I'm like early Gen X.
Yeah.
Like I'm not a boomer. People think I'm a boomer because I got gray hair. No, I'm not. And I'm not Gen Z. I'm Gen X. 66 is when I was born, so I just turned 60. Even my generation, kids today have access to resources that I did not have, which I could have used.
Yep.
I look back and think about aspects of my personality. Kids today call this neurodivergent stuff. They didn't have words for it then.
Yeah.
And boy, do I wish we had.
Yeah.
Because unpacking that has been really interesting, to say the least.
Yeah, I'd love to dive into more of that, man. And that's what's cool about. Again, what's cool about this space is how long. I mean, I came in a little bit early to set all this stuff up, but this is cool, man. We don't have to like. It doesn't take long to set it up now. I mean, I used to have to set this up, tear it down, set it up, tear it down, set it up, tear it down, and now I don't have to. Yeah. And now we can have cool conversations like this. And I don't have to just do it once a month. We can do it 5 days a week if we have enough people that would want to share. But I mean, there's topics that there's really, I think, meaningful topics out there that I think are really cool to do this, this setting in. And I keep saying that we do things a little different at Building Refuge. I don't know if we necessarily do anything different.
Right.
I just think that we say, hey, we're not going to be afraid to wade into those waters.
But I think it's different because we're different human beings than other people. So
that's right.
We have our own subjective experiences that we bring to the table. So, I was formally diagnosed with ADHD last year. 59.
That's crazy.
And there's other stuff on top of that that is more difficult, especially as an older person to diagnose.
Yeah.
But I look back and I go, like, now there's methods and means that kids are helped through that. They're not just called the things that went on. And so I think what I am learning and I'm just kind of tipping my toes into this stuff. So I don't claim to have any expertise whatsoever with autism, ADHD, or the combination of those two things called ADHD. Yeah. I have no expertise in that except my own subjective experience.
Yep.
So I can't speak for anybody else.
Yeah.
Except to say that a life of feeling like I was broken in ways that I didn't even have adequate words to describe is not. I'm not the only one.
Bro, no doubt, buddy.
I look around at men in my life and women too. I have actually more women friends than men for other reasons. I don't trust men for most reasons, for a lot of the same reasons a lot of women don't trust men because we're fucking pigs, to be honest.
That's a good point, man.
I'm just honest. I've been around my whole life. I've been around in my whole life. Trust me, men are pigs.
I appreciate your honesty.
So, looking back at all that, I go, oh, yeah, this ADHD stuff, like,
it's real.
It showed up here. It showed up here. And then, like, the spectrum-y stuff, like in my relationships, my shutdowns, my meltdowns, this recurring burnout that would happen that most recently started in, like, 2020 time frame that really hasn't let up, that's sort of been ongoing burnout. Is different than, like, what you might experience in job burnout.
Sure.
Autistic burnout's a whole separate thing. I'm just learning about this stuff. And, It's not necessarily solving problems or bringing me relief, but it's giving me a different lens through which to look back at my life instead of I didn't try hard enough, I wasn't good enough, I said all the wrong things, no one understood what I felt, like, why did I do that? Why did I do this? Instead of that, I can look through it and go, oh, okay. You have a different brain. You see the world in different ways. You recognize patterns that some people don't see. You're super sensitive to smell and sounds and textures in my clothes. And I remember being a little kid and getting shamed because I couldn't hold still. It's because my clothes weren't comfortable.
Yeah, you were telling me that. Yeah,
and I'm going to crawl out of my skin.
Yeah,
all sorts of things like that. I begin to see that and go, okay.
Does that help? Does that help sort some of it out a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay.
It starts to. It starts to answer the sort of the why behind it. It doesn't take the pain away.
Sure, no.
And I am fully responsible.
And that's okay.
I'm fully responsible for my behaviors. By the way,
Yeah,
this is not as a way to say
that
when I blew up at my ex and threw shit around the kitchen. That was her. No. That's me.
Yeah,
I am fully responsible. But I also
accountability is a huge thing, man.
But I also recognize that in those moments, like, looking at myself from the outside going, why am I doing this? Why can't I stop? And why do I keep perpetuating this behavior? Because I hate it about myself.
Yeah.
Or when I would shut down, just go in the other room for 2 days.
Yeah.
And, she would see it as, the silent treatment. But I'm like, I'm on full overload and in full panic, and I can't even speak.
Dude, this is cool, man. Let me rephrase that. I'm very grateful to you for sharing your, this experience. I really, really, I mean it from the bottom of my heart, because what I see in this is that I can envision somebody else sitting in this seat and you talking to them about this, and how much help that is for a person to just have an opportunity if they're at that place where it's okay. Because listen, man, I mean, I know you again well enough. It's not like you just switch and go, oh, I can jump up on a stage and do a podcast and now everything's better. Like we're not, come on. I'm just saying that as we continue forward, I can envision that where somebody would be like, hey, I'd love to sit down because I've kind of walked the same experience. And this is a really great topic. Like, it's a super great topic. Back to what you said a little bit ago, Joe, was around, we didn't have this in the 70s. Nobody knew how to, or the 80s, or hell, even in the 90s, right? The education, the awareness, the knowledge of what this might be and how to have a prolonged approach to it versus going, hey, just sit over there. You're being wild.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, come on. So that's what I think is really cool, that part of it, because we are furthering our knowledge. We are furthering our brains. We are furthering this education around it. That's really what it is at the end of the day, man. So I really appreciate it, man. Like, I love how little nuggets, when we planned kind of to do this, some of this I don't think we knew we were going to talk about, and that piece of it, right? I think, and I'm just very grateful, man, because I know it's, when you talk about it, it's meaningful. So I just appreciate that, man.
I distinctly remember there's a YouTube channel, I think it's called ADHD Chatter. It's mostly ADHD content from a man in England, I think. And he had a guest on who is both a psychiatrist, and is autistic and ADHD.
Yeah.
He described that's one of those moments where I just go, oh, the lights just turned on. I'm hearing someone use language to describe their own life experience that perfectly describes what I've had or what I've experienced, but have never been able to put words to. One phrase I hear very often is like, I feel like everybody else got the instruction book about how to make friends, how to have conversations, how to join a group. Most people who know me, if they know me kind of at all, they know I'm kind of alone all the time. Yeah. And that's just the nature of me.
That's okay. Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
And I crave, relationship. I would see people out in social, doing social things like that at Deer Creek. There'll be like a blanket. There's 8 or 10 friends. They all came together. But I'm alone. Now, again, this is not right or wrong. I'm not blaming or judging, but it's just like, I don't understand that.
Yeah.
How do you put together a group of 10 people to decide you're going to go to Deer Creek together and then do it?
There's so much there, right? Whoa. Who's bringing what? What are we going to get?
Holy cow. And I'm just like, I just need to make sure I can get out when it's time to go. So I don't want to come with anybody. I got to have my own car and my own way out. So a lot of that stuff, again, as I learn about it and I express it, I hear similar stories amongst especially the men friends that I know. You mentioned earlier, I had more than a few friends die by suicide in the last decade or so, and some of whom were general acquaintances. Some were people who I really loved and knew pretty well, and some were important community members. And all the while, I remember sitting at Greg Perry's funeral.
Yeah.
Thinking to myself, how ironic that I'm sitting here wanting to do the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, look, man, I just, I think it's a great, it's probably a good kind of not a stopping point, but just a transition anyways. I appreciate you saying that. I just put up some resources for us. So I always mention kind of when we run into stuff like this, like if you are struggling, 988 obviously is the best solution, I think, to at least reach out to. But Building a Refuge has got a really cool resource where you can text the word refuge. If you don't want to text it, that's fine too. Just type in 494949 and hit send. and it's an anonymous text line where somebody will get back to you and have an anonymous conversation. Yeah, it's super cool. But there's some other options that that you certainly can use on here that we have on here. You can always reach out to us, man. I mean, we have a space now. If somebody wants to meet us here and come and just hang out and talk, I think that's a really big piece of what we do. But man, look, Joe, I just appreciate you, sharing with us tonight, man. I know we'll have more of this to talk about. I wanted to share a couple of things anyways, before we do wrap up. We have another meeting coming up, August 22nd. So we did our first one here last weekend. I have it on the screen anyways, August 22nd. Again, we'll have coffee for folks to try and come and, express your, thank you for coming, man. Thanks for hanging out with us. You can try that one. I don't know, but you can hang out. Yeah, it's a little bit of a secret door there, right? But a really cool environment. Come out, hang out with us, man. Try some coffee. We usually bring in some donuts or some food or whatever for people to hang out too.
Go ahead.
And
if people, I saw on socials is a giant cesspool. However, I do post things on Facebook events. So I do have some events coming up for coffee with a roaster, as well as a monthly market that we're going to start planning here on the last Thursday of the month. Our hope is to have a cool little local makers market here in the building or out in the yard, depending on if the weather permits. So at the last Thursday of the month. So there are things to do around coffee.
Just stay tuned to us, man, because there's a lot of a lot of really cool things. We were talking to the commander here too, man, and there's some open times. I learned about some really cool things that we can do, food-wise, and just bringing community together. That's the big thing, bringing community together. But there's some really cool stuff. So stay tuned. Stay tuned to Joe. So Joe, you're on all the social platforms too, right? Facebook, Instagram, X, all that?
Not on X.
Okay. So Building a Refuge is the same way. Obviously, if you're watching us on YouTube, we're here. So, but you can find all of our podcasts on Spotify, Amazon, things like that. But man, just stay tuned to us. Like I said, you got some fun stuff coming up you want to do. We have some fun stuff that we're gonna, throw in there in the mix as well. If the light is on, if I'm looking at it right now, if the coffee sign says open coffee, come on in, and check it out. Right, come and hang out with us, and just come in and chill a little bit. But so August 22nd, we have another date. I also wanted to share, we have an event coming up, a fundraising event for Building a Refuge coming up on September the 6th. It's pretty cool. It's our 20th year doing this. It's called Rib Fest. We're doing it over at the Carmel VFW, Carmel, Indiana. All day music. Our buddy Rudy's playing. Got the Bell Bottom Cowboys playing, big in Belgium. Bunch of great bands. But it is a lot of fun. 20th year we've been doing this, man. Crazy. It started out with amazing shout out to Sherry, Austin, Cass, our family, because that's the only reason we can do this is all that. But the poster's pretty cool that I put together this year. I tried to represent a little bit of everywhere and everyone that we've tried to do support with. So if you look on here, the shirt that this pig's got on is the first place we did it.
I love that.
Kids Coats is there. My daughter actually drew that sign, that little pig up in the top left. Beer Brewery, they've been big help to us. Union Brewing Company, man. So we tried to put a poster together that was recognizable for everyone. But and then I have a quick thank you to a lot of our sponsors, man. I mean, we wouldn't be able to do this without the help of everybody, man. We wouldn't be able to stay in business and do what we do here at this coffee house, man. So I just like to say thanks to some of the folks that have helped us out, because it's a big deal to be able to do it, man. And we're located, Joe, right here at 293 South 8th Street, right?
You got it.
Come on by, and appreciate you big time, buddy.
Likewise.
This has been fun.
Yeah, I want to say just one little caveat.
Yeah, absolutely.
Neither one of us are healthcare or mental health professionals.
No.
It's important to know.
We are not.
I make no claims.
Thank you for saying
that. I'm just
that.
a dude with some stuff.
I am just a dude.
And I make some coffee, I think.
You make amazing coffee.
And I hope that we can, what we can provide is a hand and a chair and a cup and an ear and a direction to some resources. If we could do that, we've done our job here.
Oh man, dude, you couldn't have said it better, buddy. I mean, that is exactly. We are just two dudes hanging out that care at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So thank you. I appreciate you doing this tonight, my friend. I do. I love doing these. I love, being a part of these stories. I love getting them documented, because they're documented in the world of digital now, and so they're out there for everybody to go listen to. So till next time, man. Appreciate you. Come out and check
Cheers.
us out.